Hi, I'm Lou Beechy, the Creative Director for Heartfelt Creations. Today I'm going to share the techniques using stamp paint. This is a shimmery paint. It applies very easily and it can be used for all of your projects. So to use the stamp paint, I used it on this card on the tattered lace. You can see the intense shimmer, and I also use it to apply color to the flower, and you can see the shimmer on the flowers as well. So I'll show you how easy that is to apply. We're going to color this flower first, and I like to use a jumbo dauber for this specific technique. I'm using the moss green, and when you sponge into the jar, just wipe the excess off to the side, and you can see that will apply nicely. Then just go back and just sponge a little bit of color onto your flower. You can kind of do it randomly. What I like about this is it applies very easily, adds color, and who doesn't like shimmer on all of their projects? It reminds me a lot of the glimmer spray. But with this, it dries instantly. You don't have clogged nozzles, and it just adds that vibrant shimmer. So there you've got a little bit of color. To finish this specific flower, I'll go back and add some of the walnut brown. The walnut brown really is what I use to do a lot of the vintage distressing, but it has that shimmer to it. So for this one, I'll just go around the outer edges. So when you apply it with the jumbo daubers, this is really kind of a quick and clean application. And literally it takes like 2 seconds to dry. I just sponge that and that doesn't come off on my fingers. With this you can also add texture, so you could add it thicker if you wanted to. You could go back there and add more color if you wanted, so you can add as much or as little color and shimmer as you like. If you're using a sponge like this, if you're in between uses, just spray some water on this. Or if you're completely finished using it, wash it out with some warm soap and water, because this does dry really quickly. This piece was cut out with the lace die, so this is what we're going to show you how to apply the stamp paint next. Grab your rubber gloves. If you don't use those, you'll have a free manicure. I sponged this into my light blue. Now I'm just putting this onto a piece of clear cardstock, and I'm kind of just giving myself a little work surface. I'm going to sponge some of the brown in there. Lay that sponge. This is just a yellow sponge that I cut up into pieces, so any sponge that you have will work. I like this method of working with the stamp paint because you can easily blend colors with this. Now what you'll do is just kind of blend those colors in a little bit and kind of create like a paint type surface. I'm not a painter, but this kind of reminds me of what painting would be like if I do it. So let's grab this color and just start sponging that color to your lace. So you'll see a little bit of the light blue. Let's grab some of the green and brown. Okay, I guess that was more brown. Shoot, I forgot I had the brown one. Okay, we can salvage that. We'll go back. Every piece of lace looks different. I left my green sponge in here. Here we go with the green. Let's add some green in there. So as you can see, that just makes an amazing array of color. And this is so simple. So if you use, like, I'm using the clear cardstock surface, but you could use like anything that's a non-porous surface is great to just put that on. Let's quickly apply that. Let's add some more brown. And maybe a little bit more green. So now you remember, you can also just mix these colors together, maybe stir the dark brown and the light blue together, and you'll be surprised at what colors you achieve. So maybe put just a little bit more aqua color in some of these areas. I'll just dab into my tray a little bit again. So this makes it look very distressed. Now to scrunch it up like you saw over here, what you'll do is, this is completely dry, so you'll go back and I'll spray water over the top of this lace, and what that does is it makes it more wet, and then we're just going to bend that up in our hands, just squish that together like that. I know it looks like we're really ruining this piece, but you can pull it apart and you can see if you want it more distressed, just continue pushing it together like that. This piece is from our decorative lace die. I just absolutely love how it looks all distressed. Now, when you have it all kind of crinkled, I'm really trying to make this give it a really distressed look. It can actually tear a little bit if you do that. If yours doesn't really crinkle very well, just spray more water over it, and that kind of goes into the pores of the paper and makes it distress more. Now, what you'll do is you can kind of pull this out. The effect we were getting on the card made it look like a dress skirt, so we kind of just pulled it out like this. And then you can lay this aside to dry, or you could also make it dry with your heat gun. So if you pull it together like that, it looks like you'll have a little bit of a dress skirt. Our next step is I also like to, like this lace swirl die, I like to take the brown. This was cut out with brown. Let's put a little bit more brown on our palette here and just go over this entire piece and just sponge that brown over the top, and you have an amazing, amazing shimmer over that entire die cut. So very quick application, and that is very shimmery. So can you imagine that on your projects? Another application is I love putting this on chipboard. So let's put a little bit more color on our palette. Let's get some copper, some green. And remember, while you're doing this, if you have to leave your work surface a little bit and it gets a little bit dry, just spray some water on and it will be perfect. So you know what? I'm going to start out with the aqua again, and I'm just going to do that on the base. This applies just amazing to chipboard. Within a matter of seconds, you've got a chipboard letter just completely colored. I used to do a lot of glitter and some crystal lacquer applique, and it just took a long time. So this was just a quick way to add the shimmer and glitter that I always love on my titles. Can you see that? Like, that was so simple, and that's done. To make this card, we colored all the flowers with the stamp paint. The lace was done the same way. This was done with the decorative lace border die, the vintage floret roses. To assemble these roses, watch our video called Vintage Floret Roses. This was the lattice swirl background die. We used two pieces, the left and the right, put those together to create a dress form, and we even added the little ribbon and tags, which just finishes that off. Here is the same concept, just using a tag as a background. Flowers were colored the same way with the stamp paint. I love this love background from the Timeless Amour collection. Then we have this 12 by 12 layout where we use the tattered blossoms, colored them with the stamp paint, added all that shimmer and all that creative goodness to it. The buttons were wrapped with burlap. Up here we've got the Inspire title with chipboard, just sponging with the stamp paint. And if you do the double page layout scrapbooking like I do, this is an amazing option. This is paper from the Balmy Breeze collection using the chipboard title with stamp paint, cutting little pieces from the Balmy Breeze collection as accents, and then adding the vintage floret flower. We did that on both sides, and this just makes a creative embellishment for your scrapbooking. You can use this technique to apply the stamp paint to any non-porous surface, including your cat, your dog, or your unruly children. You can visit our website at heartfeltcreations.us for more inspiration. Purchase the stamp paint under the category called accessories. Have fun using your stamp paint, and I will see you next time.